Hey everyone, how are you? Charlie Day-to-day Senior Care. Thank you for joining me at 7:30. I'm a little late here, a couple minutes, but I'm on. Yeah, we this was a very big thing going on. This article I read it yesterday, um, and it was very surprising. I was at a client's house actually, and he has Newsday because I don't have Newsday paper delivered to me anymore. But, I looked at I read it, I was like, "Oh my gosh," I couldn't believe it, I couldn't believe it, and then today, I'm online and hold on one second, these lights. I'm online and I'm seeing in all these, like, elder care groups and other people's just I mean, people are talking about it, how, their loved ones were, subjected to this, different, things of allegations of, abuse, neglect, assault, just poor care. So, I get it, but I put a call to action earlier today, so if anyone is there, I just wanna speak with other, industry leaders, anyone that wants to chime in. I can send you a Restream link, to our studio here, and we can just discuss this. You can share your, input, your thoughts. Um, Otherwise, what I will do is I will do a brief explanation of this whole thing, folks. Um, I am going to open up there's a chat. If you are watching on YouTube channel, you could show me a comment. You can, type in a comment on Facebook Live. You can type in a comment, and on LinkedIn, you can certainly type in a comment. I'm going to give you a hello right now. Okay, and if you see that, that means you're able to chime in with us on the chat as well. You don't have to necessarily come online. If you do, I just hit the invite guest. I send you the link and you come on in. All right, everyone. Again, this is the Care with Confidence, but this is a special tonight. I just have to share what happened. So, for those viewers that are not going to come online, they're not industry leaders or they're not nursing assistants, but they're still very curious about all this. This is why I'm here. Now, again, I'm off script, unshaven, but it's important that I jump on and talk about that. And you know what? That's the type of person I am. I don't have to be cookie cutter like everybody else. I just get on and tell it like it is, folks. And I'm here to do some discussions. I got my coffee ready. Anyone wants to join in, I'll be here for at least a half hour. All right. I'm going to wait a second or two for some anyone that wants to invite themselves in. I'm checking different spots too, just different venues, so I can see if anyone is commenting, and yet I can't see it on here because I'm still learning. Oh, there's my sister. Hey, good to see you again. Okay, and you're on YouTube channel. Perfect. So let me type you back. Thank you, sis. Okay. Let me get okay. Yeah, so I'm going to go over some of this right now. Let me close this out. I'm going to put this, just give me a second. I have to get in here. One second. There's Facebook. Okay. All right. Oh, perfect. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So let me just go over this real quick. Um, give you the whole rundown here. Okay. So what we get in here is this Newsday article had information, $511,000 and 92 cents in fines. These numbers are real, okay? And they are unacceptable. But do they tell the whole story of New York State long term care? Or are they being used to paint a target on the back of every facility in the state? Um, if you are in the industry, like I had said earlier, I am opening the Restream guest slots now. Get in here and speak your truth. All right, that's I have a little bit of a script here tonight because I don't want to get lost in all this. I don't want to do this by myself, but I know there's other people out there. I'm going to check on LinkedIn and see if anyone commented in there. I could send them the link. Give me 1 second. Let me shoot over to LinkedIn. Do, 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 do. All right. Okay. Yep. And I see we're live there. It's happening now. I'm going to comment in there and see if it shoots over here. Um, please join us. We are live now. If you are an industry leader or a nurse's aide or a social worker, let's hear your thoughts. Leave a comment. Come on in. Be a guest. Okay. Shot that out. All right. So, okay. So, what we need to know too is when I looked at the article, there were like 18 citations that were posted. Now, I'm still an active licensed nursing home administrator. Okay. So, um, I have a lot of concern with, all the citations that they posted, yet I get it. I'm not defending allegations of abuse or neglect or any of those that were warranted in this citation. If that's what was caught on camera, if that's what was submitted to the Department of Health, when you have to make that phone call and an incident report and let them know what happened in your facility. I've been there. I've been there, and we've had in our own my own facilities. There were many times we'd have to call the state for various uh, complaints of abuse, whether they were legit or not. Okay, so the thing that worries me, everyone, the thing that worries me is that when an article like this gets thrown out there with just the facts and you don't have that opportunity to um, for rebuttal, a lot of times this is another way seniors and families look at this and say, you know what? I ain't putting my loved one in any nursing home. This is crazy. Look at all these nursing homes that get these citations. Yes, but the one that had a high water temperature, um, it's again, it could be immediate jeopardy, isolated incident. All depends on how much water is it through the system? Is it every faucet in the building? Um, there's a lot of factors involved, but again, it's still not allowed. But accidents happen just like in your home, in a residential home. Something may happen to your heat pump, and you go to put your hand in, and it gets too hot one time. So that's different, folks. That's different than saying that somebody abused somebody or all the other bigger citations that are in there, which again I get, but again, where how many, and we need to break it down and look at each one. That's how we would do it. And like if the Grand Pavilion, like in the picture on Newsday, had a picture like this, they showed the Grand Pavilion, Holy Patterson, St. Johnland, Water's Edge in Port Jeff, San Simeon on the Sound by the Sound, and others. But what was the incident? What was the citation? We got to look at that. And being a professional in the business, and obviously everyone knows I'm the owner founder of Day to Day Senior Care. My expert consultations, when I take clients' families out for tours or even a phone call where they're deciding between a facility or another facility, yeah, I'll do my research. I'll go in, I'll look at the DOH, all that, their citations, the surveys as far back as I can get them, and and what their current rating is. I mean, you have facilities with 5-star ratings, and all of a sudden there's an alleged abuse, and now they're given a really bad name because people don't know all the facts. Now you can go in, you can look at it, you can read the correction, plan of correction, the reason for the citation, and you can make your own educated guess. I'm not arguing any like that, but to say that you'll never have your mother or father in a nursing home again, we have thousands and thousands of caregivers and support staff and administration that spend every single day making sure their facility is safe every single day. And that's why I'm here tonight. I'm not defending the citations. I'm not defending someone who, assaulted somebody, someone that did something that, alleged it to be at this point. But again, we have to look at isolated incidents. All right. A perfect example. Um, one of them cited an incident that had to do with, I'm trying to remember now. There was a few of them. Yeah. The one with the issue with the respiratory. I don't know which facility it was, but there was an issue where a resident was saying she was having trouble breathing, and they didn't follow up fast enough. They didn't make the right decisions. And, you know, she needed a respiratory treatment. And then there's others that, you know, someone actually touched another resident, and then another resident complained about the same employee. Okay. You know, look, even with criminal background checks, you know, the federal government and the state, New York State, have all the oversight of these facilities, and they have their policies and they have their procedures that need to be followed by the New York State, the owners and operators, then the New York State licensed administrator, the one that they deemed suitable to go into a nursing home and be the eyes and ears and the policy maker and the policy executioner. Um, they that's why they license us nursing home administrators for that such reason. Have I batted heads with ownership? Absolutely. Environmental issues? Absolutely. Other issue? Absolutely. Food costs? Yeah. I've argued out trying to increase food costs to increase better food, and then of course, well, you also have to consider their financial capabilities too, and more staff. I mean, more residents that are in the facility. They can increase the amount to get better foods. All these things. I don't want to get off a key here, but what I'm trying to get at is that we do our best every day when we walk into that building to make sure that every single resident is protected. But you're always going to get those outliners. You're always going to get those one out every decade that's going to be in your facility and is going to potentially hurt somebody, physically abuse or sexual abuse. It's just not a perfect world. And with all the regulations, all the oversight, all the fingerprinting, and everything that's got to be done in HR, you could have a perfect person that's never done anything, and then all of a sudden he's been in the facility for 10, 15 years, and something happened in his head where he thought it was okay to prey on elderly. It's ridiculous, but it happens. Okay. So this this call to action today. Let me see if any, because I'm talking away here. See if anyone invite. Okay, no, not yet. Okay, let me just check on YouTube channel real quick. Okay, get in there. Back in live. Okay, there we go. All right, perfect. So, oh boy, I just realized something too. I'm rushing. I didn't even have my headphones on. Rushing to get in here. Give me 1 second. Oh, you got it. Yeah, come on. Okay. Okay, can you hear me? I'm sure because I have everything on here. Yep. Okay. All right. So where are we at? Okay, guys. Connect. Okay. Looks like we got bumped off for a second. Okay. I'll check. All right. Sis, are you there again? We got bumped off. It happens. Okay. So and we got to also think about how these stories hurt morale for the staff who do care, you know? All of a sudden, they're getting the Department of Health is showing up in their building, okay? And it's incredible that they have to go through this for one person that did something after they've had, 100% positive rating on their surveys. um it's sad, and I do feel bad. I really do. And that's why I got so I was angry at first, then not angry at first, I was surprised at first to see all that come at me for 2025. So they were really out there doing their thing, which again, look, I'm totally in agreement. When the Department of Health comes in and they do their inspections, they should do a thorough, concise inspection. Okay, because they're going to come after me if my license is on the building. You think they're going to? I'm not going to share where, but I had a letter sent to me saying that you, Mr. Day, okay, you, Mr. Day, are found not to be guilty of, of a citation, an incident that occurred that could have, led to something more serious. But they checked me as well, just like they do all the other staff. And if I would have been a part of that, like say I intentionally didn't, call it into the Department of Health, I'd lose my license like that. Okay. And if I didn't lose my license, I get a ding on it and it would go with me as I carry on into my sixth, seventh, and eighth year being active. I'd like to get to 10 years and have a clean record. Now I'm not in the nursing home buildings, but I'm out here in home care. And once I do a medical agency, where we're going to be home care medical, and I get awarded an operator's license, then if I get in trouble with that, it's also going to affect my active nursing home license. So they're very strict. We do our job. We work hard. And I remember as the administrator, I always had to keep my eyes on everything, my fingers on the pulse of the building. Okay. Um, all right. Let's see. What is this? Anyone invites? I don't see anybody waiting. Nobody's waiting. Okay. Nobody coming in yet, huh? All right. That's okay. I can run this another night too. I could do tomorrow night at 7:30 for those that didn't get a chance to come on. Certainly, I would love to hear from anyone that wants to share about this because, you know, Again, our viewers, as we're growing on YouTube channel, I want them to get the latest information out there in the home care long term care industry. Our clients' families. When I tell my clients' families, yeah, take a look at our stuff on YouTube channel, or oh, you want, they want to know where my Facebook page is for business. I give them that, and I give them my personal Facebook page as well because I'm posting on both. I'm not afraid to hide anything, but it's very important for our listeners and our viewers because we have a podcast audio as well on iHeart Radio and other radios. Um, and I heard not Google, Apple. Apple, when I signed on and got the RSS feed for our podcast series, we run three, and they go to Apple. Now, Apple has video podcasting are joining in with that. So now people can also do video. They can watch a video as opposed to listening to it in audio. But when you're driving, I like to listen to audio podcasts myself. So okay, all right, let's get back into this, folks. All right, we got 21 minutes. I usually try to keep things to 30 minutes. I don't want to bore people, but I do appreciate all the viewers that are on watching right now. Okay, let's just look. We'll get into it again a little bit more here. I've got some more information that just came out. I feel like a news reporter. More information just showed up. All right. Anyway, here we go. Okay, so here's a breakdown of some of the specific findings and incidents that were cited in the reporting that you can use to frame, okay, that we could use to frame in our defense. Okay, but okay, you should be prepared. Let's see. Physical and sexual abuse. Now, in the report, it mentions multiple allegations of physical or sexual abuse against residents. One of the most cited facilities, the Medford Multicare Center for Living, was reported penalized for failing to properly investigate or report allegations of sexual misconduct by staff. Now, that's an issue, folks. Okay, that is an issue. If you're not properly preparing reports of this, you're going to get in just much trouble as if you didn't report it at all. You see what I'm getting at? And that's the difference here. Most families are just like, okay, oh wow, they didn't, it maybe they didn't fail to report, failing to properly investigate. So in other words, because I work behind the scenes, folks, I've been in a lot of surveys. They're going around, they're asking all the questions to all the staff. They're asking the residents, the ones that were involved. You may know, you may not know in the beginning of this investigation by the state because they don't sometimes reveal the names of who they are yet. So they're going through all that and trying to find out the information, and then they come to a conclusion after their investigation that the nurse supervisor didn't tell the nurse director what properly happened. So the nurse director, instead of doing her investigation further, puts it in the report, calls the state up, and now they're looking at all those moving parts and how they didn't do it properly. Okay? I'm just putting it out there, folks. Doesn't mean I agree with it. Okay, as the administrator, if I was in this facility and this happened, I would be wanting to know how this got failed properly because the administrator is the one that signs off at the very beginning. Once he sees the report, he says, okay, let's go. Let's report this. Okay. Let's put it into the state. I usually would get a call from the nursing director right away. Okay. About the incident. And then I'm on my way in. That's how it worked. I would be involved in the whole steps, everything. And I'd be sharing with the owners as well. Because again, my license, the owners, we got to make, and even the nursing directors have their licenses. Gross neglect, another one that was cited. Incidents including Incidents included a resident at a Brentwood facility found drinking hair dye, a resident with dementia missing for over 20 hours in Hempstead, and a suicidal patient jumping from second story window in Huntington. All right. That's pretty serious, folks. I don't recall reading that one. The resident died after the one with all right, so I don't know if Newsday had complete report. Oh, okay. There was another the story. There's a news story that there's still okay. So this information is even more updated. Okay, mistakenly believing the residents had did not. Okay, so here's Central Island Healthcare, where residents died after staff failed to perform CPR, mistakenly believing the residents had a do not resuscitate orders. I do remember that one. I do remember that one. Okay. So the total fines were $511,092 with 18 citations. But again, these incidents, you know, Brentwood facility found drinking hair dye. Poor resident on that. Where'd the hair dye come from? Ay ay ay. Um, she must have gotten it in we have hair salons, salons in nursing homes. So maybe it somehow the door was unlocked. You see what I mean? That's what I'm trying to say. It no one, purposely put it in front of her, but she could have grabbed a hold of it one day coming back from a haircut. You don't know these things, but you need to do all. All right, so we got lost. We're back here, guys. Sorry about that. Sometimes these live streamings will fade out, but we were going over some of the reports. Um, so while New York State fines are capped at 10,000 per violation, um, the bulk of the $500,000 figure comes from federal penalties, which are much more aggressive. Yes, if you have the federal government coming in your building, oh boy, did I ever work in a facility where the federal government showed up? Yep, and it's like walking on eggshells, folks. But again, the staff, the majority of the staff, the administration, the caregivers, the housekeepers, everyone is doing a great job to keep residents safe and watching out. But again, life happens, and I'm not again, look, families are going to be like, I don't. And look, I had my mother in a nursing home. Yeah, obviously, she was in my nursing home as administrator, and I worried about her every day too, and I always came to check on her. One thing I always tell my clients, excuse me, not only are we going to be doing weekly and monthly checks, depending on, what type of program the clients want, but the clients still need to, if they can, to make visits regularly too. Visits consistently to the nursing homes, helps you be a part of everything. If you notice something wrong, if you walked in the room and found some hair dye that a housekeeper didn't catch on the first or second run, which I don't know how that can happen, but it does maybe. These are ways to avoid my plan of correction mindset through these 3 decades working in assisted living and in nursing homes. I'm constantly thinking, what else? What else is there? What else is at the root of these allegations and these citations and findings and putting a plan of correction together. So the industry defense points. Um, so there are over 600 nursing homes in New York State, folks, dozens on Long Island. 18 citations, while serious, represent a tiny fraction of the total patient days provided last year. Okay. And New York law has changed with that. I mean, they still have the 3.5 hours of direct care per resident day. Many facilities are struggling to hit this, not because they don't want to, but because there is a massive labor shortage. Overreach, are there citations for actual clinical failure, or are they administrative lapses that the media is sensationalizing? Hello. The funding gap. Remind your audience that many of these facilities, like NUMC, operate with a massive percentage of Medicaid, Medicare. Um, Hold on, here, I'm getting in trouble with my mic. Medicare reimbursement patients. Okay, and often don't cover the actual cost of high level care. Okay, so let me. We're gonna run it. We're gonna run it out here. So I'm just gonna ask a quick question. If anyone wants to chime in a comment. Okay. I see my sister's still there. Okay, so the Newsday report highlights 18 citations. In your facility, how many thousands of successful, safe interactions happen for every one mistake? Okay. And then I'll leave you with one other question. How do we, as an industry, fix the bad apple image that stories like this create for the thousands of dedicated nurses who are working right now? And then when we come back on tomorrow, I'll do another one tomorrow at 7:30. So if anyone's listening, we will come back on tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Okay? And I have another question you could answer the next time when you come in. When the media screams abuse, they often overlook the staffing crisis. How has the labor shortage in Nassau and Suffolk impacted your ability to meet these state mandates? Okay? Our listeners want to know. And I would prefer hearing from other people in the industry than myself. So we would love to have you on as a guest. Okay. All right, everyone. That's it for tonight. Thank you all. And yeah, let's get back together tomorrow night, 7:30. Thank you all. Bye bye.